All right, so we're getting to the first segment of the day. The new format is that me and Nathaniel will each bring a couple segments per week, and Marco will also bring one, and he will also end us with a game of the week. So we will have some different subjects to talk about. These segments are a variety of different things, and you will slowly learn them as we bring them to you.
We'll try to get sound bites for each one.
Yes, eventually we will.
We'll make it a little more organized. But the first thing we're going to get into is a character corner, which is a deep dive into a character in film that I'm going to set us up for, and I'm going to talk about Forest Gump. All right, so I recently watched Forest Gump. Phenomenal movie, but Forrest Gump is obviously a phenomenal character, and there's a reason, right? Like you talk to people, and there's not a whole lot of like I would venture to say there's nobody that's like, yeah, I like that movie. I just hate Forrest, dude. Like he's just terrible. I just like so many characters made now have the ability to be I either like that character, or I really don't like them. Whereas characters like Forrest Gump are just likable characters, and my whole point behind emphasizing this is that this is not hard to make likable characters. Now, Forrest Gump, if you really look at him as a character, doesn't have much of a huge character arc, and this is fine. For the sake of his story, the story just kind of happens to him. Right, this is what makes him charming. He talks about it very plainly. Like this is just his life. Things have happened to him, and to him, it's all very simple and relative. But everybody else is like, you've met like 7 presidents, and you're a multi-bajillionaire, and you're an all-American, you're a war hero, you're everything. But he has a very simple approach on life, and simple characters work. I mean, we've watched the Rocky series before, and Rocky is an incredibly attractive character. Like you just love listening to him and hearing what he has to say, because he's just a very sweet, simple guy. And it's the same with Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, the main knight, which is Sir Duncan. He is just a very simple guy. Like
Sir Duncan the Tall.
Sir Duncan the Tall. And he has this adorable moment. I was telling Nathaniel the other day, this is when I realized I like the show. It's because he walks into this, it's not a brothel, but like there happens to be these 2 girls that were just, I guess, pleasuring one of the kings.
Prostitutes.
Yeah, they're prostitutes. But he's trying to be like, hey, I've been trying to talk to that king that you guys are like with. And they're just sitting there making fun of him, just ragging on him, because he's kind of out of his element here. He's kind of out in the country typically, but now he's coming into the city. And they're just ragging on him, they're making fun of him, and he just goes, "Must you mock me? I only came here to get some information." And he just kind of puts his head down and walks. He just said the thing that most people would say, like, yeah, what are you doing? Like, why are you just being a bunch of jerks? Like he just says it, and he's just he has no deep philosophy behind it. He's just a simple guy, and he's very likable. And Forrest Gump brought this to the screen perfectly, where he's intentionally, obviously in this specific movie, he has a high functioning autistic or Down syndrome, whatever Forrest Gump has. Might not be a smart man, but I know what love is. So whatever that is that afflicts him, but it diffuses the audience from trying to build up things to not like about a character, and it takes away the ability for him to be morally gray, because you just say, okay, he's just kind of doing what he knows. There's a couple points where he beats up Ginny's boyfriends, or not boyfriends, the guys that Ginny's banging at the time, because that girl's all over the place. And he loses it every time. Like one of them is just like all over her. He just goes and starts beating the hell out of him, and she has to pull him off. So like those would be the only instances where you'd say maybe he went too far, but honestly, most of them you encourage that. But he's an extremely likable character, and he's done so well in this movie because the movie itself is the thing that people pay attention to, and he's such a simple part of the overall story. But that's okay. Like those are great characters to make. Like he doesn't do anything morally gray at all, which is going to be my next segment, talking about moral ambiguity. But that to me is just, more characters need to be written like Forrest Gump. More characters need to be written that are just doing because that honestly is more accurate to most people in life, are just kind of like minding their own business and just kind of like living life.
So it's funny because and I'm going to talk about an aspect of characters that's just made characters nowadays, which is why Sir Dunk was such a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
Is that a character you can unironically root for.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, maybe they have flaws, but deep down, they're trying to do the right thing, and that their goals to do the right thing. They're not conniving. They're not cynical. Mm-hmm. They're not obnoxious. They might screw up, but they're going to, get back up on their feet. Is so much more prevalent in anime.
Yeah.
And I think it's one of the reasons that anime is just completely whooping everything Western.
Yeah.
Because like I think of two examples, like One Piece with Luffy, and the author and Welcome to Demon School Uruma-kun with Aruma, that they're both just such lovable characters because they're always there for you. They always try to do the right thing, even though they don't always succeed.
Mm.
But they exude kindness, and because of that, they just draw people to them. And it's you're like, yeah. And again, I'm going to bring this up in my segment. But like, you look at that, and you're like, that's someone I would be friends with,
Right. Well,
and that's the kind of character you want on screen. Like, I could see myself being friends with this character.
and the purpose is simple. Like his purpose was essentially just I like Ginny, and everything else was secondary. It was like, yeah, then Ginny left again, and so I just whatever thought I might join the army, and so I did, and then I was done, and so I thought I'd play ping pong because they told me to. Like that's his whole life. Like he doesn't have necessarily a distinct purpose except for Ginny, and like writing a character that way focuses on who he is as a person, and it works if he's a really attractive person, right? Like somebody that you, like you said, you want to root for, and he's probably maybe the pinnacle of this example. Just because he, as a character, is so like you just turn it on and he instantly just he's just hello. There's anybody next to him sits down. He just wants to start talking to him just about life and just about the stories that have been going on. He has no, social awareness to know that that's awkward or that most people don't do that or offer people chocolates. Like he's just, but it just works perfectly. And I just think that you don't, it just doesn't take a lot to write. That's the thing that frustrated me the most is I was like, more characters could be written like this. It really doesn't take much. Just make your main character a very simple, sweet person. And like, that's it. And have the story happen to them. And you can have more characters like this.
It's funny because people often think about, more complexity means better characters. And, there's an aspect of it's okay to build more complex characters.
Sure.
So they end up being more relatable in certain ways.
Doesn't mean those characters are bad. Yeah.
So if you look like Beowulf is just kind of the good guy, kind of moves forward, doesn't really get impeded by everything. And you're like, okay, can I relate to that? Maybe because he doesn't really have any character flaws. Okay, so you add some character flaws in, and then that makes them more relatable, right? And then they keep going, keep adding. And I think about, people ask me, I love cooking, Kitchen Chemist, subscribe. And people ask me, what's your favorite thing to make? My favorite thing to make is bread. Water, yeast, flour, salt. That's it. And fresh baked bread straight out of the oven is simple, but it's one of the most delicious things.
Yeah.
Simplicity has nothing to do with the quality.
Right. Exactly.
A well-written, simple character will always be better than a complex mess.
Yes. Well, and the problem is again, a well-written, complex character is still fine.
Yeah.
But I can sympathize with somebody going, well, that's difficult. Like it's hard to put all those pieces together to make somebody who has flaws, but is still, but the audience will still like him. And that's why I'm like, well, it's not hard to do the simple ones, but you got there's just no character. Like when's the last time you've watched a movie and just been captivated by a character in the movie recently, like a new movie?
I will say there have been plenty of simple characters, but they're just simply awful.
Well, there fair. So this actually is an interesting topic for me because I didn't know you were doing this particular subject, and relating it back to a movie that I just recently watched and told you guys about is Train Dreams. It is a very simple main character.
Yeah, that's
that
true.
Life happens around him, and you're going through this guy's life, and it is just so unique and so powerful,
Tragic.
and tragic. But yes,
What
but
is it
also
about?
just
Like
it's about a guy who's a logger.
Okay. Like a lumberjack?
Yeah, lumberjack guy, and he does like odd jobs or whatever. Way back in the day, right?
Like, so define back in the day, 1800s, 1700s.
They're using hand tools.
They're building train tracks. Like wow.
So like 1800s.
Yeah, they're it's back there. It's back in the day, and he leaves his wife and kid to go and do logging because that needs to happen in order to pay for the bills and
leaving
blah blah blah.
doesn't mean he just goes and he works.
He goes and works and comes back. Right. But then like I don't want to ruin it for you because I really think
that's all you need to know.
there is a very sad point in the movie,
and
he has to work through that.
Many very sad points in the movie.
Yeah, and it's just about this guy's life or the world happening around this very generally ordinary individual who just is a hardworking lumberjack guy and wants to be, a good family guy and a good dad and things like that. But, tragic things happen. and it's about this guy's life. Basically, is what it is. But he's a very simple character in the sense that he's very relatable. It feels like something I would do if I were a lumberjack, which, mind you, I'm not. But if it feels like I would be like, I need to go do this because I need to provide for my family, and I'm trying to do the right things, but all these things keep happening around me, and what the heck? And now I'm like super depressed, and like it just feels very relatable. It's a very simple character with a very outstanding story.
I will say, I think the point of that one that didn't bring satisfaction that you get in these other examples of like, is that you do root for the character. And so if the character doesn't get anything and is always sad, then you are like, well, then why did you make me do this? Where in that situation, I would say that, yeah, he seems like he even admits where he's like, yeah, I'm not just like a very bright guy. I'm just kind of like going through like, this is what I should do. So I'm going to go and do it. But then life is just tragic for him constantly. So I'm like, well, now I just my internal feeling, I was like, I am just sad and I can't do this. Whereas Forrest Gump, he's so likable and sweet and seemingly innocent. And yet he's phenomenal at everything he does, and so you just love it. Like you can't get enough of it. You're like, oh, he just runs forever. Everybody's just trying to keep up, and he's just like, man, I'm just gonna start. He's like, so I just started running for no particular reason, and I'm like, it's so good. Like, yes, this is great. And he's like, I play ping pong. Decided to play ping pong every single day. He got very good at ping pong, and then just became the best ping pong player. I'm like, it's so like you love that. Rocky, you get to see a really simple guy who was getting kicked out of his gym. You know, he doesn't have a whole lot going on. He always calls himself a bum. But he's just a sweet dude who just like wants to show people that he's not a bum. Like he's like, hey, I just want to work hard. But then he gets that opportunity, and then and that's what makes the movie satisfying. Right. Whereas I think that again, and I guess this plays in with a story too. I do agree with you. I think that he's a well-written character, although the story I think it does not serve him well in that specific circumstance. And Night of the Seven Kingdoms is following a similar thread, whereas, I mean, I hope it doesn't end with him just dying in the mud or anything. Like, I hope it ends with him. It's about. I mean, this is not spoiling anything. He wants to become a knight. Like his mission to become a knight. The knight that he served past died, and that's the first scene of the movie or the show. And so it's him on his journey to become a knight of the Seven Kingdoms. And just like see, like he's just kind of like life is just happening to him. But he's a very sweet, simple guy. But yes, I would also not be a fan of all of that if he just ends up getting wrecked and like it being really sad. I'd be like, well, no, this is going to be satisfying.
Yeah, if they end up Ned Starking him, I'll be like, okay, well, I'm done with the show.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, if the simple guy does have with the progression, then I enjoy it. But anyways,
these books are already written, so I think this was like a side series, and I do think it. Obviously, nothing in Game of Thrones has a happy ending, but I do think this one doesn't end tragically for him. I don't know. I haven't read the novellas.
It seems to have a different tone, feel than all of them, and I'll get into that with my next segment, which is a soapbox special.